but I did want to address Clerks 3. I did want to give a review of this movie. I saw it last night, and it was definitely an emotional experience, and I absolutely knew it going into it that it was going to be an emotional experience for me. I can't remember walking into a theater as nervous as I was for Clerks 3. It's almost kind of comical in a way. I'm not a person that really harbors a lot of aggressive fanboy, fanatical obsessions with like Marvel, with certain franchises, Star Wars. That's never been me. But I adore Kevin Smith's View Askew universe. Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Clerks 2. I'm here for it all. I can tell you characters, names like Julie Dwyer, who never even appeared but are constantly mentioned. The minutia of this world has been in my life so long, I do not remember a time when I was without it. Going back to seeing Clerks way too young at 8 years old, and having it be the movie that I hold dear to my heart. No movie means as much to me as the original Clerks does. And I don't think any movie ever will either. But I was nervous going into Clerks 3 for a couple of different reasons. Number one, Kevin Smith has not been the same director since he started smoking weed about 12 years ago or so. He just hasn't. I think he's made one good movie since he started chiefing blunts at the rate of Snoop Dogg. And I think that movie is Tusk. He's not been the same writer-director. And a lot of his most recent works, including Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, they've really been predicated on nostalgic callbacks. It feels like Kevin Smith ran out of after Tusk has completely lost the ability to tell a fresh new story. And it's sad in a way. And Clerks 3, and I want to say this because everybody and their mother was asking me what I thought of the trailer when it dropped for Clerks 3, because I know how much Clerks means to me. And I said, I don't like the plot of this movie. How the plot of the movie revolves around Randall, without going into too much detail, no spoilers here. Dante and Randall, they're working at the Quick Stop, and Randall suffers a heart attack. And Randall's response now to realize that he didn't have a life worth saving, he hasn't done anything with his life, he's in his late 40s. His response is to make a movie about him and Dante working at the Quick Stop. And this is, you might have lost count. I surprised a coworker when I was telling him about this today. This is the fourth movie Kevin Smith has made about making a goddamn movie. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Zack and Miri Make a Porno, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and now you have Clerks 3. 4 movies of Kevin Smith's filmography, that's like a fifth, I want to say, of his filmography is about making a movie. And the excuse then is to, and I knew it from the trailer, the excuse there is then it sort of justifies these nostalgic callbacks. Hey, remember when a customer wanted to rent dental school? Remember Chuli's gum? Remember movies? Remember all this stuff? Nails cigarettes? Remember the Chuli's gum guy who brought the lung into the store? All these things from a movie we've seen before, and a movie that we've seen time and time again before. And that's why Clerks 3 is one of the most confounding movies for me to review and quantify. Because I really liked the first 20 minutes of this movie. I really liked the first 20 minutes. And I really liked the last 25. I got emotional several times during this movie. Kevin Smith goes there in a lot of different ways. He is not afraid to alter the characters, the course of the events of this movie, the characters' lives in general, and your perception of these characters as well. That is where he was brave with this movie, is that this movie has stakes. And it has real life themes of aging, mortality, grief, loss, everything in between. Sandwiched between weed, dick, and fart jokes because that's Kevin Smith's ultimate brand. But when it comes to the mortality angle of this movie, there's some heavy, heavy material here that I think is handled very well. Somebody on Letterboxd joked, and I had to laugh, but somebody on Letterboxd said, this is the movie with the worst acting to make me cry. And I might agree. In some. There's one scene involving Dante and his wife, Becky, Rosario Dawson in the movie that has gutted me. And I related to it on a serious level, even though I'm not married. Related to that on a real serious level. And then there's the last 25 minutes, which Slight hokiness aside, believe it or not, kind of works with this movie. I was stunned by that. Now, the first 25 and the last 20 minutes don't make a whole movie. What's up with the 50 minutes in between? It's filled with a lot more misses than hits because once Randall gets the cameras rolling in the quick stop, once Elias, the devout Christian from Clerks 2, becomes a Satanist rather inexplicably, and once old customers, characters show up to reenact the events of Clerks while Dante and Randall are making a movie about their life, it all becomes intensely meta. And Kevin Smith starts using Clerks 3 as like an outlet or a channel for his own life experiences instead of further developing these characters when it counts at the core of the plot. And that frustrated me. That really frustrated me because of how much I love when the lights kind of went down and the music got a little sadder and they went into the mortality angle and legacy angle of this movie. When Clerks 3 does that, it nails a lot. It nails a lot. And that ending, and again, I'm not spoiling it. I walked in a bit of a cloud of feelings today and emotions because these characters mean so much to me. Dante, Randall, Veronica, Marilyn Gigliotti returns. This is only her second Kevin Smith movie ever, which is really rare for these recurring characters. But Marilyn Gigliotti's back as Dante's ex-girlfriend. Unbelievably surprising entrance. And what an emotional roller coaster ride. Tour de force performance from Gigliotti on that. Jennifer Schwalbach-Smith, Kevin Smith's wife, her character Emma returns. You get a lot of familiar faces in this movie. The music is really good. Jay and Silent Bob, I can't believe I've went almost 10 minutes, haven't even mentioned them. Jay and Silent Bob are used pretty sparingly in this movie, which is good because they already got their own movie, their own sequel reboot 3 years ago. The music is good in this movie. John Gorka's ballad, I'm From New Jersey, plays during the end credits. And it reminds you in that moment, once it starts playing, that this trilogy rather, is a love letter to Jersey. I called it, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one to make this claim. This is Kevin Smith's Before trilogy. And it concludes beautifully. The last 20 minutes concludes, I think, beautifully. An ending that's, I think, once you overcome the shock of it, does indeed make a lot of sense because in turn, another character, we'd like to think, takes an alternate perspective on how to treat people and appreciate life. I'll close by saying this. I've written 3 reviews of Clerks since I began writing reviews. I just wrote my 3rd review of Clerks last week. I've reviewed Clerks 2 twice now. And I'll probably come back to Clerks 3 when it comes on DVD. And I don't know what I'm going to think of it then. I'm giving you the thoughts about 24 hours after I saw it. Full review, in depth at stevepulaski.com. I'm really glad Clerks 3 exists. I wish it were better. 2.5 out of 4 stars for Clerks 3. It's in theaters now. It's a Fathom event. Really glad that Fathom did pick this up via Lionsgate. It is in theaters now until September 18th. And Kevin Smith is also on the Convenience Tour as well for the foreseeable future, going city to city. But yeah, 2.5 out of 4 stars for Clerks 3. And again, wish it was a better plot. I think a more grounded, down to earth, lacking meta jokes, making the whole movie about meta jokes. I shouldn't say lacking in those kind of jokes, but making the whole movie this meta regurgitation of Kevin Smith's life. I don't like that plot. And it's lucky it doesn't buckle everything else here that's really good, such as the musings on mortality. 2.5 out of 4 stars for Clerks 3. Glad it exists at the end of the day. I didn't cry, and I did not cry during this review either. Give me props. Because I was a fiend yesterday at the theater. You'd have thought I saw Marley and Me at some points. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Man, I cried 3 different points of this movie. 3 different points of this damn movie yesterday. Crying in the club, crying in the popcorn yesterday.